Now at 9, the ARMA VJ homecoming celebrations took place this weekend. Plus, a church in Neosho hosts a rally for America. And law enforcement raids a local newspaper in Marion County.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Elise Noe. We're tracking some severe storms in the area. We go straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty for a first look at weather.
Yeah, thunderstorms have been exploding across the region over the past couple hours. We've had this cluster kind of pushing through southeastern Kansas, and now we're getting additional thunderstorms which are firing up along and south of the I-44 corridor. Severe thunderstorm watch till 10, severe thunderstorm watch until 2 a.m. on the Missouri side. And look at all the lightning. The main threat is going to be large hail and winds kind of gusting in that 55 upwards to 70 mile per hour range. Let's go ahead and zoom in. We have a cluster from Chanute to Erie, and where you see the little purple core here just south of Erie, that's where we're getting at least 3/4 inch hail. Also picking up just a bit once you get just south of Girard up toward Fort Scott. So these are just strong, right below severe limits at this time. But if we drop south, new severe thunderstorm warning, northern parts of Ottawa County. This storm is moving kind of east and most likely into Newton County, and then also into southern parts of Jasper County, but it has hail, 1 inch size hail. And then also we have winds at about 60. New severe thunderstorm warning as well. This is going to be from Neosho. We're getting some hail within that core right on top of Neosho, stretching east into Newton County, and then also picking up just to the west of Monette. So we are going to have several severe thunderstorm warnings as we go through the evening hours. Of course, we'll keep you updated. Back over to Elise.
I'll check in with you soon. A semi overturned this morning near Neosho while carrying 35,000 pounds of fresh eggs. It happened at about 9:30 a.m. on State Route D, east of Crowder College. Authorities say the truck was driving west when it dropped tires to the right and overturned. The driver was not injured. A portion of I-44 in Jasper County was blocked this morning because of a boat. Jasper County authorities were alerted around 7:30 a.m. They say traffic was backed up for about a mile and a half after a pickup hauling the boat jackknifed, throwing the boat off the trailer and into the roadway. Traffic resumed normal around 9 a.m. A multi-vehicle crash in Claremore, Oklahoma claims the life of a woman. It happened yesterday south of 450 Road. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol is still investigating the cause of the crash. However, they have said it involved 3 vehicles. The driver of one 42-year-old Mercy Agallo was killed. A passenger in her vehicle was injured, as were the drivers of the 2 other vehicles. Law enforcement officers in Marion County, Kansas raided the home and office of a newspaper owner. Reporter Joe Baker has that story.
The step that was taken was the most extreme step that law enforcement can take.
It's unprecedented in Kansas. It is shocking that an unannounced raid would happen on a newspaper.
On Friday, a local newspaper, the Marion County Record, says the Marion Police Department and Sheriff's Office seized its computers, cell phones, and reporting materials. Owner of the paper, Eric Myers, says law enforcement also came to his home and took other property. Why did law enforcement seize this property? Myers says he believes law enforcement was motivated by a confidential source leaking documents about a local woman to the newspaper. He says she complained to city council members that the newspaper illegally obtained sensitive information. Law enforcement then obtained a search warrant signed by Marion County Judge Laura Vire that alleges identity theft and unlawful use of a computer. Meyer believes police in Marion are trying to suppress not only his newspaper, but the community as a whole.
We have heard nationwide from people regarding this story. Almost nothing from local people. I got called from one local person who said, I saw this thing on Facebook, you ought to see it. I said, well, could you send it to me? I'm not sure, they may come and seize my computer. That's the kind of chilling effect that you worry about in this.
Journalists are the watchdogs, right, of government. And we like to think that we hold government to account, and not just for ourselves, but also for our communities.
Emily Bradbury, executive director of the Kansas Press Association, and attorney Max Couch say journalists are protected by federal law against searches and seizures, and it usually takes a subpoena to obtain documents. The newspaper requested the original affidavit.
Affidavit on which the search warrant was based has not been disclosed. There's a Kansas law that's been in effect since 2014 that presumes disclosure of such affidavits once those warrants are executed. The journalists who were in town yesterday tried to get a copy of that affidavit from the clerk, which is by law the custodian of that record after it's been executed, and the clerk did not have a copy of that.
Bradbury says the fight isn't over for the Marion County Record.
There is a group of people standing beside the Marion County Record. They're not going to be alone in this. This isn't over. And like I said, we're going to try to hold those responsible for this action accountable and make sure that people know that this is not something that will be tolerated.
ARMA VJ homecoming celebrations continue today in ARMA City Park. Among this weekend's festivities was a bocce ball tournament where teams of all ages competed for a cash prize and gift certificates to Chicken Mary's, and a junior bathing suit beauty contest where boys and girls 6 months to 3 years old competed for a trophy.
It makes me feel proud. I know they're both really cute, but all the babies are really cute, and I'm just happy they had a chance to be in something and have their face shown around town.
This was the 77th annual celebration for ARMA. Well, considering the great divide between church and politics, one Neosho church decided to make a change. Hilldale Baptist hosted a rally for America today with several political leaders in attendance. Here's KOAM's Jasmine Knight with the story.
It all started when Pastor Phil McClendon and a church member came together and talked about how America has strayed away from its God-fearing principles. From there, they were determined to find a solution.
What we need to do is stand up for America. All the negative things we're not a part of, but we need people to stand up.
Then, the Rally for America was created. The goal of this event is to celebrate America and restore Christian faith back into our country. The Rally for America also features some important political figures.
I don't know how we declare our God-given rights and leave God out of it. And so I think things like this are important to bring people together, community together, to talk about some of the most important issues that are going on in our country and in our state.
As I somewhat jokingly and somewhat truthfully like to say, government's too important to leave to the elected folks. We, the people, are supposed to be involved. That's really a foundational part of our government.
As political leaders, Jay and Jill both aspire to be a voice for the community.
You know, I hear concerns about the direction we're going with things that are being taught in our school, with materials that are being found in our libraries, and, just are we continuing to be a nation that is founded on the principle that you know better how to live your life than I do, or than the government knows how to live your life? And are we continuing to be that country that unleashes the potential of people by allowing them to make their own decisions?
And I think that is what people are hungry for. They're hungry to be able to have a voice and have somebody listen to them and have that translated into policy.
As for Hilldale Baptist, the solution for America is clear.
I believe standing up for America, being positive. I believe voting for Christian leaders. I believe those who have the principles of the Bible, we should stand up for them.
Reporting in Neosho, Jasmine Knight, KOAM News.
Rally for America also hosted singing quartet Voice of Truth and conducted 7 baptisms. Up next, researchers say suicide is at an all-time high. A new study finds cutting your time on social media can help reverse depression symptoms. Researchers in London found breaking free from social media dependence can positively affect people struggling with depressive thoughts. The team says tackling the problematic use of social media alongside therapy helps patients. They analyzed the data from more than 20 studies involving participants from all over the world. They found 70% reported notable differences after cutting social media usage. The suicide rate nationwide is at an all-time high. This, according to numbers released by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. About 49,500 people took their own lives last year. That's the most ever. The data suggests suicides are now more common than any time in the U.S. since the beginning of World War II. Well, states across the country are bracing for a possible trifecta of respiratory viruses this fall. We are talking about COVID-19, the flu, and RSV. Major pharmacy chains have already started rolling out appointments for flu and RSV vaccines, and an updated COVID-19 booster could be ready by the end of next month. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, snakes found at a dog park in Oklahoma is causing some concern.
Well, of course, we're tracking strong to severe thunderstorms across the region. These really got going about 2 or 3 hours ago. We have severe thunderstorm watches out on the Kansas and then also the Missouri side. And these yellow boxes, those are severe thunderstorm warnings that we have at this time. So we're looking southern Lawrence, northern parts of Berry, Newton County, and a little tiny sliver of Ottawa County. We had a whole bunch in southeastern Kansas over the past hour, but those have weakened just a little bit, but I do think we're going to have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings as we go through the next couple hours. Look at these storms blowing up. So we got this cluster here, and then these guys getting going along and south of the I-44 corridor. A ton of lightning in these storms. The main threat that we are going to see as we go through the evening hours is going to be very large hail. It could be as big as 1.5 inches, and then winds gusting 60, pushing 70 with some of the stronger storms. Let's go ahead and take a tour. We're going to go into Ottawa County. So we're looking up I-44 where you see this kind of purplish color. That's where we are seeing our hail core, our quarter-size hail. This is going to kind of skirt just south of downstream Casino. Let's go a little bit farther toward the east. So now we're looking Newton County. So Joplin's right there. We have a severe thunderstorm pushing through Neosho. We can go a little bit farther east, eastern parts of Newton County. So here's Stark City, and then very large hail. We're getting over 1-inch size hail right on top of Monette at this time. And all these cells are kind of pushing east, a little bit drifting off toward the south into the east. We got additional ones which are firing just east of Veneta back through Craig County. So those are going to continue to blow up. And then we can go north into southeastern Kansas. Strong storms, Chanute back toward Neodesha, also Erie, and then back through Bourbon County, and then Crawford County getting a pretty good cell, kind of flaring up just a little bit just to the north of McCune. So all of these are going to continue to work through. Let's go through time. We're going to stop at 10:30. The cluster in southeastern Kansas pushes into southwestern Missouri, but look how they really get going along and south of the I-44 corridor. So we're going to have that severe threat as we go through about the next 2 to 3 hours, and then it will start to dive off just a little bit. Very strong storms continue. Here's midnight. Then everybody gets into the action. Just good old thunderstorms after midnight. Periods of showers, thunderstorms rotating through the region. And these are going to continue all the way into the morning hours. So here's 5 o'clock in the morning. Nothing strong or severe at this point in time, but periods of showers and thunderstorms. And then finally pushing out of here by the time we get into about mid-morning or so. All right, rainfall with all these storms. Heaviest is going to be along and south of I-44. A lot of areas are going to pick up 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of rain, lesser amounts, but you've already had quite a bit that has popped up across southeastern parts of Kansas. Temperatures are going to start to cool down just a little bit. Of course, we got a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning out there sitting at 81 degrees, but our temperatures are going to be great as we go through the next couple days. 80 tomorrow, which is fantastic. 58 tomorrow night, only 79 on Tuesday. And then we start to heat back up later on this week. But after these storms tonight, we're going to get some really comfortable temperatures.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. Well, snakes at a dog park in Oklahoma is causing some concern. Reporter David Chasanoff has the story.
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely worried. Beware of snakes. The moment Jake House saw the sign, he told his wife, who warned the Mustang Facebook group about it. I mean, we're worried about our dog, and we're obviously worried about our kids, too. We didn't want them having to pick it up or playing with it or anything like that, getting bit by it. Mustang Parks and Recreation Director Nick Bailey tells Fox 25, a resident told city leaders he killed one snake, saw another, and wanted to let the public know. Bailey says the Parks Department and Animal Control looked everywhere for the second copperhead snake, but they couldn't find it, though he assures there is no danger to the public. Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation spokesman Michael Holmes agrees.
Most snakes in Oklahoma are not venomous. So Most snakes are harmless. They're part of the ecosystem. They eat the things that we don't want around, like mice and rats and even bugs.
Holmes says in most situations, if you give a snake some space, it will do the same thing for you.
If you see one, observe from a distance and just leave it alone is the best plan.
An important lesson for the House family and Daphne.
She's part of the family. She's treated her like a kid, so her safety is of the utmost importance to us.
Coming up, student loan payments are about to resume. We'll have tips on how to pay those debts. The average family spent $700 more in the month of July than they did 2 years ago. And that increase in spending is mostly driven by inflation. Americans are spending more at the grocery store and on housing costs. Plus, they are having to pay more when it comes to buying, maintaining, and insuring vehicles. And on recreational services like cable. Paychecks have also grown over the past 2 years, but not by as much as the cost of living. The pause on student loan payments is coming to an end this fall after more than 3 years of relief. Personal finance experts are offering tips for students and parents stressing out about resuming loan payments come October, when the pandemic-era policy ends. Topping the list of advice being offered, first, become aware of the problem. The payments must be made, they warn, so it's important to stick to a budget and follow it. And that process includes making a detailed plan by listing smallest to largest debts and tackling them in order. Next, we have the latest on what's dominating the box office. It's mid-August, and there's still just one word to sum up the summer box office: Barbenheimer. David Daniel has the early weekend top 5 estimates.
The Dracula tale, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, opened in 5th place, sinking its teeth into just $6.5 million. Meg 2, The Trench, fell from 2nd to 4th on ticket sales of $12.7 million. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem moved up to 3rd, taking in $15.8 million.
Our imaginings horrify us.
Oppenheimer returned to 2nd place with $18.8 million, crossing the $600 million mark worldwide.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie. There's no stopping Barbie. $33.7 million gave the Greta Gerwig film a 4th straight weekend title and a domestic total of $526 million, number 18 on the all-time domestic chart. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. And we'll have the latest on the deadly Maui fires. As the death toll from a wildfire that destroyed a historic town in Hawaii climbed to 93 today, authorities warn that the search for victims is still in its early stages, and that number is likely to rise even higher. Fox's Jake Karalexis has the latest.
The number of fatalities continues to rise on Maui from what is already the deadliest wildfire in the U.S. in over a century. Search crews have only just begun the grim task of looking for more victims in the rubble.
The remains we're finding is through a fire that melted metal. We have to do rapid DNA to identify them.
Authorities say the flames spread so quickly, people living in the town of Lahaina had no time to react. Nearly every building in the town of 13,000 was destroyed. Those who rushed to escape describe an apocalyptic scene as people ran for their lives.
200 or 300 people were all jumping the seawall with their children. Cars are exploding.
I saw one Fred dead on the ground like a piece of charcoal, like Pompeii almost, just dead. I mean, there's nothing you could do. It was that fast.
A lot of questions have been raised about the state's alert system, including emergency sirens that did not go off. Hawaii's Attorney General says she's launching a probe into the decision-making process as the fire spread. It's estimated as many as 4,500 people are now in need of shelter. State officials are working to house people in hotels and Airbnbs. Many of the people living here worked as employees at those same hotels and resorts. FEMA has pledged to do whatever is needed to bring resources here to the island to get people the help that they need. In Maui, Jake Karalexis, Fox News.
President Biden says his team is looking into visiting Maui to survey the damage. This is now the deadliest wildfire in the United States in more than 100 years. Hawaii Governor Josh Green says the fast-moving fires destroyed or damaged 2,200 buildings. President Biden made his comments as he rode past reporters on his bicycle near his home in Delaware today. The political world is focused on the Iowa State Fair this weekend as top Republican presidential candidates press the flesh and make their case to voters. The GOP's first in the nation caucuses will be held in Iowa in January. The hopefuls who've turned out include frontrunner former President Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Fox News correspondent Alexis McAdams spoke with both candidates.
That's right, and a busy start at the Iowa State Fair. Lots of fried food and lots of voters trying to talk one-on-one with the GOP frontrunners, including former President Donald Trump, who was here on the ground, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. I walked around the fair with DeSantis, talked about the border, talked about the economy, and asked him why he should be the next president of the United States. What do you want people to know about you if they are just going to end up having to decide between you two as the top frontrunners?
Well, look, I mean, I'm a blue-collar kid. I came from working minimum wage jobs. I volunteered to serve this country in Iraq. I've been a governor who's been able to have massive success both politically and policy, and I think I'm the most likely to beat Biden.
I also had a chance to catch up with former President Donald Trump. I asked him if he's going to come to the Fox News debate in Milwaukee and how he feels about being back in Iowa. How's it going in Iowa?
It's going great. Beautiful place. We love it. We love Iowa.
Feel like you're pretty popular in Iowa?
I guess so. This is the biggest crowd they've ever had, they say. So I love them and they love me. That's a good combination.
Are you going to come to the debate in Milwaukee?
That's a good question. That'll be interesting.
So to be continued on if Trump will show up in Milwaukee, but Governor DeSantis says he should be there. All the candidates should be there because it's only right that the American people hear what they all believe on policy and do what's best for the country. Reporting at the Iowa State Fair, I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
Indictment number 4 could be coming down the pipe for former President Trump, who's still the far and away frontrunner in the GOP field for 2024, despite his mounting legal woes. Fox News correspondent Matt Finn has a story from Georgia.
Within the next 24 hours, it's possible a grand jury may begin hearing evidence in a possible indictment against former President Donald Trump here in Fulton County, Georgia. It would be the former president's 4th indictment. These charges are related to alleged criminal behavior from the 2020 election here in Georgia. Yesterday at the Iowa State Fair, President Trump talked to a reporter about the potential indictment.
Is there any chance you take a plea deal in Georgia?
We did nothing wrong. We don't ever take a plea. It's called election interference. You know what that is? Because these indictments are brought out by Biden, who can't even put 2 sentences together.
In downtown Atlanta, security is increasing. Georgia's former Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan has confirmed that he will testify before a Fulton County grand jury on Tuesday. Fulton County DA Fannie Willis has been investigating whether Trump and his associates broke state laws when they allegedly tried to overturn Trump's loss in Georgia in 2020, with Trump placing that now infamous phone call to Georgia's Secretary of State asking him to find votes. Trump faces potential RICO laws here in Georgia, which are classified as racketeering or organized crime. Trump has been increasing his attacks against the DA, posting on his Truth social media, quote, "I made a perfect phone call of protest. What does phony Fannie have to do with me?" And it is our understanding that a long list of Trump's associates could also be named in this indictment. In Atlanta, Georgia, Matt Finn, Fox News.
Still ahead, the TikTok trend girl math shows how the younger generation is spending their money. And kids are being targeted online, according to Homeland Security. We'll have the details.
Well, of course, showers, thunderstorms across the region. Pretty much the entire area is under severe thunderstorm watches for the next several hours as thunderstorms continue to develop. Main threat tonight is going to be hail and wind, very low tornado threat, but it still exists. Now in the yellow boxes, you can see severe thunderstorm warnings, Newton County, southern Lawrence, northern parts of Berry County. as these showers and thunderstorms continue to develop. So really got going on the Kansas side throughout the evening hours and then have exploded right along and south of the I-44 corridor over the past hour or so. And you can see a lot of lightning in these storms as they kind of push east. And then this cluster is kind of combining in with the cluster in southwestern parts of Missouri. So let's go ahead and zoom in. Thunderstorms continue to build. Here's just south of Welch, down toward Veneta. We can track a little bit farther toward the east. You can see here's Ottawa County, very strong storms right through central parts of Ottawa County. And then we hit severe thunderstorm warnings really from Seneca over to Neosho. You can see a little bit of a hail core just to the west of Neosho. And then this extends right on the south side of Joplin. So Diamond, right along the I-44 corridor. As we continue to push a little bit farther east, you can see these storms continue from Stella to Purdy to Monette. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue over toward Aurora as well. So that whole little stripe of severe thunderstorm warnings. These storms will continue to build across northeastern parts of Oklahoma. So on top of the severe threat, we have another type of severe weather, and that's going to be flash flooding because these storms are really dropping a ton of rain, and they're moving over the same actual areas over and over again. We do have a strong storm, Pittsburgh, stretching south just north of Asbury, and then we can head a little bit farther toward the west. Here's Neosho County, so Erie, all the way down into northern parts of Lebec County. So a lot of thunderstorms. We are getting some severe thunderstorms. Look how they line up over the next hour right along and south of I-44, and then it continues to expand late tonight. Here's midnight. I think most of our severe threat is done by midnight, but we are going to have a lot of showers and thunderstorms continuing to push through 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Just good old storms at this point in time. Here's 3:30 in the morning. As we continue into the morning hours, we're going to see showers and a few thunder showers around, and then we'll start to dry out as we get to mid to late morning, and then we actually get some pretty good weather as we go into the next couple days. So the heaviest rain is shifting now along and south the I-44 corridor. A lot of areas could pick up 1, 2, maybe even isolated 3-inch amounts. But once we get behind this, we look pretty good. Look at our temps tomorrow, right around 80 for an afternoon high. We're going to have overnight lows down into the 50s. High of only 79 on Tuesday, but we go the other direction late this week, right back to 100 on Saturday and also on Sunday. Oh,
looking forward to that 85 on Wednesday there. Yes.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Well, coming up in sports, the Kansas City Chiefs played their first preseason game of 2023. Plus, what Missouri Southern football is doing to turn close losses into wins. Next in sports.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs are back. They played on Sunday afternoon in their first organized game since winning Super Bowl 57. It was quite the roller coaster of a game from start to finish. Let's get right to it. Chiefs at Saints in New Orleans, week 1 of the preseason. First quarter, no score. Former Raiders quarterback Derek Carr finds Alvin Kamara on the screen pass as Kamara trots down out of bounds at the 5-yard line. That sets up this play. Carr to the back of the end zone. He finds Keith Kirkwood for the touchdown. Slow start for the Chiefs defense. 7-0 Saints. First Chiefs possession now. Mahomes with a bootleg. He finds the hometown kid Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He picks up 12 yards. First down KC. Later in the drive, Mahomes keeps it. He'll run with it and slide inches short of the first down marker. Chiefs fail to convert the 4th down. Mahomes only goes for one drive, 2 for 2 for 15 yards. Second quarter, 17-0 Saints. New backup quarterback and former Mizzou Tiger Blaine Gabbert finds Richie James for the touchdown. Chiefs on the board down 17-7. Fast forward to the end of the third quarter. Chiefs down 17-14. Shane Buechele stumbling around and finds Kakoa Crawford for the touchdown. Mahomes is loving it. However, Chiefs fail to win this game due to a late turnover. Saints pick up the win to beat the Chiefs 26-24.
It was good to get a game in. The ones, we got to pick up the tempo there, both sides of the ball. Not good enough. So we got some things to work on there. It was good to get the young guys in. I thought they actually played pretty good. The 2s and the 3s. Some good things from really all the different positions, being able to come back.
Just a little scramble drill, and the guys did a good job of working for me. Just playing football, man. Just playing football, and I have a good example in front of me where I get to watch him make plays. And so Koa and Crawford made a great play on that catch, and just playing football.
Well, we're a little over 2 weeks away until the Missouri Southern Lions kick off their season at home against Northwest Missouri State. Now, the Lions went 4-7 a year ago. 3 of those losses were one-score games, and wide receiver Jaden Stoshak and head coach Atiba Bradley addressed on what they plan to do differently in those close games for the upcoming 2023 season.
You know, a simple holding call, situational football, simple holding call in the second quarter versus a holding call in the fourth quarter that might be for your game-winning drive can just be completely different calls. You'll see them completely different because you only have 2-3 minutes left. So I think eliminating those small errors will be big for us.
And what you realize is up by 14, down by 14, you always have an opportunity to win the football game. And so I think going into this season, our mindset is just in a much better place to handle those type of close games.
And we're still a year away from the Olympic Games, so that's not stopping Team USA to compete in the basketball for the FIBA World Cup. A collection of NBA players continue to compete for the FIBA tournament later this month. On Sunday, Team USA meets Spain for an exhibition game. USA takes on number 1 ranked Spain in Malaga. Start things in the first quarter. USA up by 3. Jaren Jackson with the block, and then over to Brandon Ingram on the other end, who slams it home. 15-10 USA. Late second quarter now. USA up by 8. Former Oklahoma Sooner Austin Reeves with a 2-hand jam. U.S. goes into halftime up by 10. Late second half now. U.S. up by 6. Anthony Edwards with the up and under to go up by 8. Look at that play. Great athleticism there. Then a couple of possessions later, Anthony Edwards again with the block and the fast break on the other end. And he'll slam it home. USA hangs on to win it over Spain, 98-88. I know, we've been talking about a lot of baseball this summer, but now all of a sudden basketball and football is starting to get in the news a little bit.
And it was great to see the Chiefs take the field today.
Yes.
Excited for that. We'll be right back. Homeland Security investigations announced the results of a first-of-its-kind effort called Operation Renewed Hope. The agency said the operation led to the identification of more than 300 people who are likely victims of online child sexual exploitation or abuse. CB Cotton has the details.
The bad guy tries to talk like the kid, the LOL and all the fancy emojis.
Officials say kids are being exploited online every single day, and the numbers spiked during the pandemic.
During COVID, the numbers were crazy. They went through the roof because kids were doing nothing but stuck in their home.
According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, between 2020 and 2022, reports of online enticement of children for sexual acts increased by nearly 113%.
Once you send that first picture, it's like ammunition that they have, and it just doesn't stop.
Brianna Viger, now 21, says she was targeted online during middle school by someone she thought was a student.
He would have me get on Skype every night and basically perform. And what we didn't find out until later within the investigation was he was live streaming me and ultimately trafficking me over the internet.
For 3 years, she stayed silent until her parents found out and went to police. Now, she warns of the dangers.
I believe that if my parents knew what sort of apps I was dealing with and if they knew how to navigate it, I believe they would have been able to detect it a lot sooner.
Viger says her exploitation went on so long because the predator threatened to kill her family. She has started a nonprofit, Stopping Traffic, to speak out about the dangers. In New York, CB Cotton, Fox News.
The phrase girl math is a new trend taking social media by storm this summer. It all started on TikTok and is gaining popularity online, particularly among women. It's a term being used to justify lavish purchases. Everything from hot pink outfits for the Barbie premiere to purchasing pricey Taylor Swift tickets. Girl math involves breaking down the price of costly items to justify the extravagant purchase. The trend includes spending big, but also relying on gift cards or unspent Venmo dollars set aside as a way to pull off major purchases. Well, you can now text with Jesus with this AI-powered app. The new app called Text with Jesus says users can talk to Jesus, Mary, and Joseph for no charge. It's powered by artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. If you want to stir up trouble, however, you'll have to pay the price. You can unlock Talking to Satan for $2.99 a month. Up next, airfare prices drop as summer comes to an end. Well, some positive news for travelers during this hot, humid, and expensive summer. Airfares reportedly are dropping as the travel season wraps up later this month. The latest data from travel site Hopper says the average domestic round trip right now is $257. That is down 11% compared to last year, but experts say prices often drop off late in the summer. However, this seasonal dip in prices is only for a short time before they climb back up again. Well, that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of some kittens helping yoga enthusiasts in New Delhi. We'll see you back here next time. Thanks for making us part of your night.